Good morning, and thanks so much for joining me. I have the absolute utmost pleasure to bring you Zacariah and Anastasia, and they are Diamond dōTERRA leaders, and they're with me this morning to have a chat to us all about their approach to building their dōTERRA business. I don't know if you're at the leadership retreat last year, but these guys gave probably the most powerful presentation that blew pretty much everyone in the room away. So if you ever get the chance to see this absolute dynamic duo speak, you must see them. Be in their presence, and you'll feel it. So thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for that beautiful welcome and honour.
Yeah, we equally love you and admire you and the way you be in the world and inspire people. You're very inspiring, Chantal.
Oh, thank you.
Very high level of resonance with you, Chantal. We have. You know who turns everything around. Sorry, Chantal. Off you go.
Great. Okay, so this morning what we're going to have a chat about, what I'd love to be able to find out more from Zacariah and Anastasia, is the way that they approach their business. And just in a brief conversation before, these guys have, between them are very different approaches, and their areas of expertise are really different. So I'd love to find out more about that, with Zacariah having a very, very strong background in energetics and understanding energy, and how that can vibrate through us, other people, and through the world. So Zacariah, can you tell us a bit more about how you approach this business and how you use energetics to really bring such potency to what you do?
Sure. What came to me straight away was that the nature of energy is that it hasn't really crystallized in a form. So it's that which something is before it's turned into form. And often what happens when we form something is it becomes rigid, and we become attached to that form, and that doesn't always serve us. So I love the idea, like in movement, in Tai Chi or some sort of energetic movement, you're in constant flow. There's no real stop. And although a form gets created in the Tai Chi, before you've even sort of really seen the form, it's merged into something else, and there's this flow again. So just as I love that feeling in movement, I would love that feeling in business. I don't want to just create something, and that's what I didn't like about the small business model, was that I loved what I created with, a Pilates studio, but the moment it was finished, I wanted to flow into the next thing instead of managing a business, and it became rigid and boring for me. And so that's one of the things I love about the network marketing model and dōTERRA, is that there's this constant flow and change and transition and diversity. And although there are core tasks that you complete daily, and that builds the business, I just think over the last couple of years, there's just been so much diversity and that flow and change, and so that sort of comes through into the business. And so what I really help people to tap into is that heart space, which is sort of where it all bubbles up from. And whenever you become a little bit stuck in form, just dropping back into heart and saying, okay, so what is the feeling here? What is it that I'm inspired to create? You sort of let all the tension go and the rigidity go, and then you find that you're not stuck. So does that give a little bit of an insight into some of the qualities of energy and how that can flow into business?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just love that so much of what we do does just extend from that heart space, from a deeply caring, very, very deep space. It resonates with me very, very strongly. And I think with many people being attracted to, when they love the oils, they feel that responsibility of, I have to share these. I can't keep this to myself. There's a sharing, and there's an extension of that love and that, that way of being.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So how do you go about how do you prepare yourself in that energetic way to then, I guess, in different ways, that how you are with your leaders and your builders, but also how do you attract new people? Like, when we start building this business, we're talking a lot with our friends and our family, but then how do you then get outside of that zone of influence to brand new people that you haven't met? How do you extend there?
Can I share one of my favorite ways, and I'll give you a perfect experience of this happening?
Yes, please.
When you said, how do you prepare energetically? And we did a talk on this in Authentic Connection last year. The first thing that you really want to be in a state of is openness. Because if you're closed, then they can't access that heart, if you like, or the passion or the caring or anything else. So it's this sort of letting go of anything that's shutting you down, and releasing tension and releasing toxicity and releasing negative thoughts and emotions and things like this, and just letting yourself open back up again. And then once you're in this state of openness, there's almost a softness to it. There's an incredible strength that you can tap into, but there's a softness to it where you feel open. When you're in that state energetically, that becomes magnetizing. People are drawn to that. If you're shut down, or you're angry, or you're holding on to some sort of contraction, people are repelled from that. It's like children, a young baby, like when Sumi he still does it now, but when he was even smaller, and Tatiana as well, if someone's really shut down, they'll run up to give them a hug and then stop. It's almost like they hit an invisible wall, and the kids kind of bounce off it. They want to give them a hug, but there's a wall there. So we want to let those walls down when we can, when we feel safe enough to and confident, and we can then open back up. So that's the first thing. The next and this is what I wanted to share, was perfect example was I was on a plane, and I think I was flying to New Zealand or something for a holiday, and I was really inspired. So I had my notepad out, and I was just all the ideas and everything that I wanted to create with dōTERRA and with Anastasia our building was just pouring out on a page. And I wasn't really aware of anyone on the plane other than what was happening. And then this Colombian man reached across the aisle. He was on the seat next to me, just tapped me on the shoulder, and he said, "I've no idea what you're doing, but I'm just really drawn to you." And he started a conversation. So what I'm saying there is that he felt what I was really attracted to. And I think we get stuck with, well, how am I going to reach more people once I've got to this sphere of influence? How do I reach more? And the truth is, and again, our fifth leg builder, she just walked into the studio not really knowing what she was there for. And she was like, "I think I'm coming here for Pilates." And then she spotted the essential oils, and she's like, "Oh, essential oils, dōTERRA, I've been wanting to do this." And she became a business builder. Wow. So that's what I call an attractive field. And so just trusting that when you're connected with heart and your inspiration, that people will really be drawn to you. And then another thing that's really important though is if you get an idea, I should start joining a women's circle. That's when you're getting that inspirational message. The key is to then act on that. Because obviously if you don't act on that, then you're not going to connect with that new network of people. So that might be another thing that you experience as an idea drops in. Really listen and feel into that and say, "Oh, that might be an opportunity to network," and then act on that.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah.
I'd love to add to that, because I had an experience where I attended a retreat, and I was really drawn because I was like, "Oh, I'll get to connect with these people, and I really love to share the oils with them." And when I went, I realized that it wasn't the space for me to do that, and it was really about me receiving. I needed to be there to receive. And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I just kind of shifted it. But I realized I had a rigid thought that I was going there with the intent of being able to share the oils. Mm-hmm. And it's not until a year down the track that I was asked to then speak about the oils at the same retreat.
Wow.
And was when I let go of what my intent, the rigid thought of, well, I'm going to go and attend this thing so that I can, connect with people to enroll them in dōTERRA. Yeah. It was an openness to, okay, so this is just about me, nourishing, connecting with beautiful women, and really, filling my cup, and just feeling a different sense of sisterhood or womanhood or whatever that thing, in a relationship, whatever it is that you're being drawn to. Maybe it's a fitness group or something, but just allowing yourself to just be in that moment without the intent of constantly thinking, I have to connect. Yes. But just saying, well, I'm actually just opening myself up to more beautiful people in my life, and then they'll discover what it is that I do, and they'll be drawn. But it's always having that openness, and allowing yourself to be in positions where that, and let that build. It's sometimes it's not an instant thing; it's over time. But those kind of things,
And that brings me straight into Chantal when you said, what could be an area that we you could have some, genius in. And we talked about mindset. And as soon as I felt into the word mindset, I was like, what is wrong with that term? And it's the fact that it's set. And it's, if you look at the definition, it's like an established set of attitudes and beliefs. Well, if you've got a set, they're set, then you're not able to adapt and flow, and everything around you is adapting and flowing. So what Anastasia is saying is exactly the same thing. Don't go into it with a rigid idea of what's going to occur. That Colombian man that tapped me on the shoulder, he's not yet a business builder, but he's in network marketing, and we get together now and we kind of get inspired by what we've been doing in each other's fields, in different industries, but the same field, and just learning from each other. So do you know what I mean? There's more than one way to get nourished in this business, to grow in this business, other than, say, for example, a sign up. And I think that's a really beautiful way of not limiting yourself to what's possible. And what we really shared last year with Authentic Connection is just the nature of connection, and that growth and that nourishment that occurs brings you into a state where you can't help but succeed. And if dōTERRA is your chosen avenue of success, you won't be able to help succeed in dōTERRA. But if you get worried, how am I going to succeed in dōTERRA and how am I going to rank advance, that starts to shut you down from the very nourishment and growth that actually gives you the success.
Beautifully said. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and also just, what is it that rank or that, the income or whatever it is that's going to provide you? Is it that you're going to be more relaxed, have relief, be more open, be able to just connect with people? Is that what it is that's going to provide for you? And perhaps you can just be that now. You can just have that relaxed state of being and openness right now, so that people can feel that and they will be drawn.
And something that I'd like to add to that as well is that the thing that needs to really come in with this is clear intent. It's not like we just float around, we kind of do sometimes, loving everybody. And, we have very clear intentions with our business, with dōTERRA. So just bringing that in, you can have the very clear intent that, yes, I would like to really increase my enrollments this month, and I really love to create rank advancement. So the intention is there, but then you don't attach to form. Like Anastasia said, you might have thought, well, I'm going to this women's retreat to establish a whole bunch of enrollments in dōTERRA, and then if that doesn't happen, you become disappointed because you created all this expectation. So having, I guess, this intention, but then this, what's the opposite of mindset? Tatiana's voice just comes in and says jelly straight away. This ability, yes, the law of flexibility, adaptability. So being adaptable, so feeling into this, okay, is this an opportunity to talk to a builder? Oh, no, it doesn't feel quite right now. Let's feel into what this is about and then establish what this opportunity is about. So does that feel, yeah, that feels good. Clear, focused intent, don't get stuck.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. No, I absolutely love that. Yeah, that's fantastic. And when some people who might just be feeling stress, or that, just life is happening and they're in that stress state and they're thinking, I just don't feel like I'm there right now. I'm not centered. I'm not quite there. What advice would you be able to give them to allow for them to feel a little bit more flexible and allow for life to happen, rather than think, once I get there, then I'm going to be happy?
Yeah. So I was actually going to come on the call this morning with a towel on my head, because I wanted to show that this morning I just had such high level of gratitude, which I do every morning, but just really sitting in the presence of, I washed my hair with the beautiful dōTERRA shampoo, and I washed my body, and I had the beautiful barrage on my face, and I brushed my teeth, and I did aromatic dressing with the oils, and I just really connected in with the gift of what these oils are. That's it. And then from there, I can't help but want to share. I can't help but want to, it just brings me into a place of, it's just about the oils getting out there, And so for me, just connecting and being the user, like going into the space of what it feels like when that person has the gift of that in their life. I looked around in my bathroom and I was like, there's no toxic chemicals here. There's, you know, how luscious is it that we have all these beautiful dōTERRA products, and then I have these, you know, the highest quality essential oils on the planet abundantly in my home, and I put them on my body, and, you know, I have them diffusing. And so I think just steeping back into the user and nourishing yourself that way and reminding yourself of what it is that you're actually doing. And then I feel like, I mean, once you have the, you know, the experience of the oils, that generally can bring you back in, you know, the oils do such beautiful work of that. And then, you know, then deeper than that, yeah, connecting to your why. And when we talk about the why and what we were talking about at the authentic connection, is that, yeah, that's all that we're really deeply yearning for, is just peace and connection. And, you know, beyond, and all of the beautiful things that the abundance brings us. But after all of that, it's going to bring us that sense of peace, and we're just going to want to connect and want to serve. So I feel like sometimes we can get a bit caught up in our role as the builder and our role as perhaps a leader and a mentor and all the things we've got to be and do. And really the most inspiring thing we can do is actually be the product, you know, be the, you know, receive what the oils bring to our lives, and steep back into that space of user and be like, oh yeah, I'm being a real gift to the planet. Yeah.
And in that moment, like you said, Chantel, where you feel the stress, often when you're in that state, you won't actually reach for the oils because there's this contraction occurring. And in that moment, the most powerful, I guess we could call it a tool, that you have is your own inner knowingness. So if you just for a moment just stop, even for a few seconds, and just feel into the tension or the contraction that you're experiencing, as soon as you become aware of it, there'll be an inner acknowledgement that, hang on, this isn't me. This isn't the real me. This isn't the way that I want to be. And at that moment, be careful not to go into judgment of it. Oh, now it's another thing that I've got to fix, because now I'm just sit in that place of, okay, I'm tense right now. How could I just let go of a little bit? And that just turns it vibrationally, just that, how could I just, and then some of these self-care ideas like Anastasia just shared, you might go, oh, how about I go and have a shower? And it might just start with a shower, and then you go, oh, haven't done aromatic dressing for a while. And we call that a pivot. It's like, oh, contraction, okay, awareness kicks in, this isn't where I want to be. Let some of that go, and then you'll feel yourself redirect and then move into a different way.
Yeah.
So a pivot is a beautiful way to talk about it.
Yeah, and I love that Tiffany Peterson talks about just bringing it just to one notch more. Don't go from complete contraction to I've got to be perfectly in alignment. You know, just how can I just improve my state just a little bit, and then just a little bit, and then just a little bit. And yeah, that pivot will then bring that thread through for you to be in the state that you really want to be in. And maybe that takes a day, a week, whatever's required, but not putting pressure on ourselves to be like, I'm not, joyful, loving, flowing goddess, or, amazing, empowered, inspiring business leader right now. Maybe it's like I'm feeling really depressed, and maybe how can I just feel a little less down, a little less dark? What would bring me just a little bit of light?
And the whole universe is just wanting to help you, right? So the way that you tap into that as you go, you're in this contraction of, because if you are contracted and stressed, it's because you've attached to something and you've attached that to your own well-being or happiness. So in that moment of, okay, what if I just let this go for a second? Immediately the universe can say, great, now we can help. I've let go of something in the past, and then within an hour there's a phone call and someone says, hey, and all of a sudden you go, oh wow, that's what I was just working on, and that's what I wasn't sure what to do about. And that's how you let the universal help in, is when you just let go of the gripping onto it, and you just, what if I just surrender this? I'm not wanting to achieve this. What if just in this moment I just let this go into the universal sea of consciousness and see what comes back? Even ask the question, can someone help me here? And I've done that. I've said that, can someone help me here? And sometimes it's the next morning or something, and it's like uncanny what comes through. It's like the very thing I was thinking about. Someone says, hey, there's a practitioner and they're working in this and they're offering a free session, and you want to go and see them. So yeah, that's another little tip, is just let go for a moment and tap into that greater sea of knowledge and help and love that's out there.
I love that, because so many people have resistance to letting go because they think that it means having to let go of a goal.
It's not giving up.
And it's like, no, it's not giving up, and it's not having to surrender it as in you don't get to have that thing. It's just letting go in a moment to allow all that is around it to come into alignment.
It might be better than what you thought you wanted.
Yeah.
It typically is far better than what you thought you wanted. Or it'll be imbued with something that had you not let that go at that moment and brought something else in, it wouldn't have been as sweet when it happened. So yeah, we don't always know what we truly want.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Yeah. What else would you like to share with us? Is there anything that you think this is something I really would love to let people know as well?
I think the last little thing that I was thinking of in terms of, perhaps LRP and what I was talking about in being the product is when you energetically prepare yourself, and, for me, just using the products, in a normal way in which I do in my day, but actually being conscious of that, like how many products I use around the home within an hour or 2 hours, and how much that contributes to my life, and how beautiful it is that I have those, people come into my home and they're like, oh, it's so nice here. And, like they don't realize the smallest little thing, like, not having a toxic hand wash makes a world of difference because, you wash your hands and you feel like, oh, and so connecting with that and actually being aware of the value that you're receiving from being on LRP. And really looking at that and like, okay, I don't have to go to the shops to buy shampoo, conditioner, hand wash, toothpaste, supplements for my kids. Like there's so many things.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I went to a chemist. And so when I steep in that, in the value that I receive, then I can easily communicate that to someone else.
That brings me.
We do that naturally. Anyway, we go and see a movie and we're like, oh, it was so good. I went to see Moana and I'm like, it was so good. It was about goddess and it was about, and I just, because I received so much from it, right? And so we do that naturally. So just if you're getting worried about, oh, I don't know how to talk to people about LRP, just remember the value you're receiving.
Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah, absolutely.
And just reflecting then the moment I knew that I was giving up Pilates, I wasn't doing it anymore. It's not that Pilates doesn't have value. Anastasia does it. It's wonderful. But because I was no longer doing it anymore, I wasn't teaching from a place of experiential love. It had brought me to a point, and then I transcended it, if you like. And so when I was teaching it, it had become this repetitive. I taught it really well, technically, absolutely. They had a great session. They loved it, but I wasn't loving it anymore. And so I think Anastasia is trying to tap people back into that. That true love of experiencing the oils is where you deeply and meaningfully communicate the value of the oils to somebody. And so that is really important because it's you're being what you're advocating. You're being what you're advocating. And if you're not being what you're advocating, they will feel that on some level. Yeah, nice reflection, Anastasia.
Beautifully said. Absolutely beautiful. Great. Well, thank you so much, guys. Is there anything else, or shall we wrap this one up? I could stay here forever with you. But,
you could stay here forever talking to you as well, if it wasn't for Tatiana in the background calling out to us. But one thing I just wanted to honour is everyone doing this program, this bold request, just honouring your courage for undertaking these bold requests, because that really stretching out of, your comfort zone, but in a way that doesn't overstress you. There's a sweet spot of stress. I call it eustress, which means healthy stress as opposed to distress. If you go into distress, I'm sorry, but that's not serving you. You might convince yourself that it is, but it's not. So that eustress of, oh, this is a bit uncomfortable, but I think I've got this. I think I can. That's the sweet spot. And so if you're entering that sweet spot with your bold requests, then we honour you for having the courage to go there.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chantal.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you really soon. Thank you so much for your time and all your expertise and your love and your heart and your energy. You're amazing. Thank you.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, yeah.